Most people study like cows, slowly going through lots of material and burning themselves out. However, the right way to learn is actually like a lion, focused, intentional, and ruthlessly efficient. I switched from the cow approach to the lion approach for this set of exams and massively reduced my stress. And I'm going to show how switching your mindset can help you study less, learn more, and actually enjoy the process. This is a game changer, and I hope I can show you how and give you some practical tips on how these approaches can revolutionize your study. So, the lion approach focuses on a series of sprints. If you've ever seen lions in the wild or watched any documentaries, most of the time they are lazing around all day. But when they decide that they're going to hunt, then it's all intense and a short burst of activity. So, if we incorporate this into a study strategy, that would be lots of intense, short, sharp sessions. So, up to 90 minutes, but can be even shorter. If you want 30 to 45 minutes, go for it. But what I used this year was a series of 60 to 90-minute sessions with reflective breaks in between. So, breaks are essentially the resting period. Now, when you're resting, you can do whatever you like, as long as I think your mind is free and you're genuinely resting. You're not doing a different task. You're not checking your emails. So, that can be, I was often sitting outside drinking a coffee and just enjoying the sky and the sound of the birds. You can go for a walk, you can sleep, etc. And so practically how I might use this is, let's say I want to get a 60-minute lecture done, and then that's my first sprint for the day. And then I'll do a 30-minute walk around, and a 5 minutes just writing what I can remember for the lecture. Now, to be honest, can I walk for 30 minutes in silence? I'll probably be itching to go. So maybe a 10 to 15-minute walk is more reasonable. Um, but the point is, people are, I think, often taught this mindset of I'm going to start studying at 8 a.m. and then just go to like 8 p.m. And that's the cow method, just continuous working and task switching. So I'll start with a lecture. Then if I am taking a break, I'll have a podcast in, and then I'll read, and then I'll do something else. And there's no breaks. And you'll find with this approach, when I've been doing it, is let's say I start at like 8 a.m. with a full tank. By like 2 p.m., I have this mental like, buzz. My head hurts a bit. I feel a bit drained, and that's a common approach with this sort of marathon method of continuous working. Rather, I think more intense, like not more intense, but more frequent and long breaks is underrated, and that will help you learn subconsciously. So just give yourself an hour of work and then just relax and genuinely enjoy what you're doing. And then when you feel ready to go again, then you can put in another intense hour. So lots of sharp bursts, and then lots of time spent essentially recalibrating and making sure you can work at that efficiency. Now, you might ask, like, surely someone who just works all day will get more done. And I think that's right, but I think the you underestimate how like limited your effectiveness is once you're actually tired. So when I hit like 1 to 6 p.m., I probably in that 5 hours might only get 2 hours of good work done with the sprinting method. And so over the short term, I think the marathon method is helpful. Like if I have 1 week to go and I'm feeling stressed for my exams, I'm just going to jam as much in as possible. But I think your your actual ability to make it consistent, to avoid burnout, to uh, retain things and be fresh long term is impacted in this method. Because what I'll say is after a few days of this marathon method, I can feel it in the morning just with the mental fuzz. And so I need to take like a day or so off just to reset. So I think the marathon method is a reasonable approach for short-term cramming. And just if you're interested in random things and don't want to remember them, like that's fine. So I think your rate of learning is reasonably linear here. Whereas with the sprint approach, you might be doing less initially, but by actually going into these topics and having reflective breaks, you'll learn more. It'll be much better for your long-term retention and you'll get much better depth out of it. So I think sprinting, you might be a little slower at the start, but you'll eventually far surpass what you can get from a count method. Think about it in this context. So at the start of the year, I would be spending more time with the sprints, and because your job is just to get a sense of the concepts. What are the general ideas here? What are the basic principles? And with time, you can then gradually increase the amount of marathon shifts that you pull. And then maybe in the week before the exam, you can do more marathon shifts. But I genuinely believe, and what I've tried to do this year, is just do this sprinting method uh, for more long term. And then by the time it got to those like 2 weeks before my exams, I was pretty happy with the material like what I already knew. And I'd also like partitioned the resources that I had for that last month over a longer time frame. So I didn't have that much to actually cover in the last 2 weeks. So I've maintained this approach right up to the exam date. And I felt really happy with my mental clarity on the final day. And in the past, where I've been pushing myself to the brink of burnout and then sitting the exam after a rest day, this way I was able to avoid it. And I think this is what I'm going to try and do in the future when things get busy. 60 minutes of hard work, a break, and then when you're feeling ready for it, you're not tired again, then you can go for another hard 60 to 90 minutes. So hopefully thinking about which task you want to, or which approach you want to take in different contexts is helpful. But the take-home message is sprinting with reflective breaks is the best long-term solution. Whereas in some contexts, just slugging out work, if you've got a deadline due in a week, then the marathon method is good. But everyone knows, like deep down, you can't maintain that. Like that's going to take its toll. You need a couple of rest days. So just be cautious if you're going to use this, in any context besides a week before something is due. Hopefully that's helpful. Stay tuned for more study videos. I'll be trying to put a lot out, and I appreciate any feedback that people give in the comments. Thanks, guys.